We're back
Hey, everybody.
with another episode.
You know, for so long we've been doing the advertising reads for the Icon-X, and we really didn't get a chance to know anything about it, hear anything about it, or learn anything about it. And we were at one of the conferences up in Massachusetts, and Jesse Taylor, who is now with Rigaku, was at the table, and we were like, "Hey, man, what? Tell us more about this." And we realized since we don't really know a whole lot about it, we should invite them on the show and come and talk about some of the new stuff that has been going on at Rigaku.
Yeah. So we brought on.
We got the chance.
The guy. We got the. So listen, if you've been around for a while, you know of the lore of Jesse Taylor, but
yes.
Not everybody does. So, Jesse, please tell us who you are and what you do and where you came from. It's a long story. I love it.
Right. Tell us. All right. What do they call that in the comic world? It's not Spawn Point.
The backstory?
There's a term for it in the comic world, because every time I see Jesse, that's what I think of, and I just like one of those like superhero guys, and I just keep thinking, God, thank God he's on our side, because if something had happened to him to make him like turn evil, oh man.
Done.
Yeah, I've always said when the Chinese take over the West Coast, I'll be the Ace of Spades.
That's right. That's right.
There's pool chemicals in my garage. I don't have a pool.
So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, you mentioned what's new at Rigaku. I think I'm one of the newest things at Rigaku, as well as the meters that we'll talk about. And I consider myself an explosives chemist, and my background is I actually studied physics in college, but I always worked in a chem lab in an oil refinery, and I tested the process water and the products. And so then when I graduated, like that's what I knew, was working in a chem lab. And then I did a couple lab jobs, and I ultimately ended up in Dugway Proving Ground at the chemical test facility. And, Dugway Proving Ground, that's in the West Desert of Utah, where they test masks, boots, and gloves and sensors and decontamination technologies against nerve and blister agents.
Oh,
so the real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just send Jesse out there with two hammers. He's just
I was going to say,
things
who gets to sign up for that? Like, hey, we'll put on this experimental hat, and we're going to douse you in nerve agent and see what happens.
Well, there is an annual man in suit test where they get Marines in the latest. It was mop gear. Now it's the JS List suit. Actually, when I was cutting my teeth in the chem lab, it was tap laundry. Was the total agent protection posture was the suit. But the man in suit test missed is where they would get these Marines, get them in the latest suit, and put them in a chamber, and then gas them while they did jumping jacks and run in place. It was a simulant, methyl salicylate, but they would have sensors inside the suit to draw air and test when and where it would break through the protective posture.
Okay,
and so,
that's crazy.
So they actually did gas.
Well,
Marines.
we got the right guy on the radio today.
Yeah. So how did you end up at Rigaku?
Oh yeah, well, I after Dugway Proving Ground, then I went to the Nevada test site in the Combating Terrorism program, and the Nevada test site's where when we were in junior high watching videos of the atomic age and open air nuclear tests. That's where they had done nuclear tests.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a total nerd, one of my most favorite parts of my HazMat career was being able to touch those houses that were on those videos that we always saw growing up over and over again.
Yes,
and
the Apple houses.
I wish I could have taken a selfie with that, but their guns are drawn the moment you take out a camera, so you can't.
Yeah, no cameras on the
no cameras.
Nevada test site, right? Yeah, so I often say there's places beyond the Mercury base camp that like you said, be a nerd in this industry. That's one of those places of lore that are at the beginning of, like, we're all interested in chemicals and biologicals and radiological material and explosives. And in addition to, of course, in commercial hazmat. But yeah, that's one of those places where they have the biggest crater man-made from testing underground nuclear weapons. And since the testing finished at the Nevada test site, they had been mostly doing stockpile stewardship, where they just made sure that the weapons weren't deteriorating or ready for use if necessary. But I was in the combating terrorism program, so really what we did there was we did like a test and evaluation of different sensors and protocols for anything WMD related. And this was in the early 2000s, shortly after 9/11. And so there was like a sense of urgency, as you well know, because you guys were at ground zero. And at the Nevada test site, we had a lot of different agencies that would come out and test out airborne sensors or special suits or personal detectors to look for chemical weapons, biological materials. And in fact, the sensors where they detected that nuclear materials were being processed in Iran and North Korea were tested and verified at the Nevada test site. They had special signatures that they set up for those sensors to determine, oh yeah, this is the place.
Okay.
And that's really where like Raman technology came from, right? I mean, like that area.
Yeah, they did a lot of laboratory Raman, and around the same time as when Uhura came out, and I started doing training with Uhura, and one of the first handheld and ultimately like the early popular portable. Right around the time that the sensor FTIR, the Traveler, was out, those were kind of the two first portable handheld hazmat detection devices. And so, of course, in those times, chemical, their toxic industrial materials were of big interest, and so those became wildly popular. And I think that really shifted not only hazmat, but also like the military detection capability and protocol from paper technologies like M8 paper, M9 paper, 256 kits, and pH paper to now we can determine molecular structure and identification. Yeah, so I did a lot of work. I traveled all over the world with Uhura, doing training and testing. And
so you've been around the block a couple times, which we say all the time in the one of the advertisers, like Rigaku's been doing this longer than some of you guys have been doing hazmat. They've been around for a while, right?
Yeah. Rigaku was early on. Most of the initial Raman was with the 785 wavelength, and Rigaku found a great place with the 1064 nanometer wavelength.
Okay,
which
explain that.
Is very complementary.
All right, so that's most of the Raman world went the 785 way.
Right.
But Rigaku went to 1064. Why?
Well, I think probably there's two big advantages to that. In that, number one, it wasn't being done, and number two, it gives you less fluorescence. Everyone that has used 785 knows the sample that tells you 986 minutes remaining in your scan time, right?
Yep. Which, despite contrary belief, that doesn't mean you're getting overtime.
Right. Yeah, because all of these devices have are set to just collect data until the signal to noise is sufficient to match to the library. And if you don't have a good strong Raman scatter, or you have excessive fluorescence, or both, then it's just going to want to keep collecting data. And at that longer wavelength, 1064, there there is less fluorescence generally. Of course, it's dependent from substance to substance what the fluorescence is, but generally the 1064 nanometer wavelength gives you less fluorescence. And it is just beyond the visible spectrum, so you can't see that light of that color.
Now they've been using the 1064 for quite some time. So
Yes.
what is it about the new meter, which I believe is the Icon-X, correct?
Right, the Icon-X.
Right. So what makes that? I know we talk about on the show and the advertising reads. It's not just an upgrade; it's a whole new platform. So they're using the same frequency. What makes this like a big deal?
Well, what's great about it, and you've even read it in the ad reads, is that it's a platform technology.
Okay.
And being a platform technology is that it's set up so that it can accessorize without having to change your basic meter. So you can add, it has the robot integration capability. We have the newest accessory, which is the vector proximal standoff accessory for detection at a distance of 1 to 3 meters. But essentially, the Icon-X is the 4th generation in Rigaku 1064 handheld Raman. And like you said, Rigaku's been around as long as nearly anyone. And it's the first and the leader in the 1064 wavelength applications. And currently, it's the only 1064 Raman analyzer that has the proximal standoff capability.
Yeah, we actually, if you guys watched our social media feed maybe a month ago, when we were in Massachusetts, we actually placed hands on a prototype one. Right? It was a prototype, but nonetheless, you got to feel it, you got to look at it, and it is something that. Added with, if memory serves, you could put it on a tripod and have a significant standoff.
Yeah, 1 to 3 meters, so like 10 feet, right? Is
a lot.
About your 2 meters. So you could put it on a tripod or on a robot and have it set up to scan a sample at that distance.
So is there any benefit to that other than you're removing yourself away from the hazard? I mean, that is a huge benefit in and of itself, but is there an increase in any of the functionality or even a decrease in functionality when you're measuring from that kind of a distance?
There is a little bit of a change, like a paradigm shift in its functionality at that distance, because rather than using it as an unknown detector with like all the 13,000 items in the library, now it's going to be more like a specific threat identifier, or a like chemical threat detection. So you're going to really use it more for the strong Raman scatterers, and of course, fortunately, all of those in the strong Raman scatterers in the library are going to be your explosives, your chemical weapons, your pharmaceutical-based agents. So those things that can reach out and get you from a distance that you need the standoff for, those are going to be the items that you want to either confirm that it's present or rule it out as not a threat.
This might be a stupid question, but I'll throw it out anyway. Why not? With that meter, right? I always in my mind, I always think of like the offset Raman spectroscopy as being like that focal point where the like when you were using the magnifying glass to burn ants or light some grass on fire or whatever it was. If that's being done and we have that focal length set for 1 to 2 meters away, then theoretically I could take that meter and put it right up against a huge vat of chemical and see 1 to 2 meters inside the drum. Not that you would want to do that or anything, but theoretically, I mean, could you shoot through one drum and hit the second drum? Let's say I had like a pallet of drums and I wanted to get the second guy because I can't get to him.
Well, I haven't seen any transparent or translucent drums. So so this doesn't do the opaque scan through containers. But yeah, if theoretically, if you couldn't get to your sample, that's one of the advantages is that not only do you have the standoff for safety, but like if you can't get to that sample, it's there's equipment or material or some configuration in the physical environment that doesn't let you go in and collect the sample, then you can point the laser at it from a distance.
And it's much faster than the last generation, right? I remember there was something about the speed of sampling because we took a sample live on the the social media feed, and before we were done, I think saying like the second sentence, it was done.
Yeah, it was finished. That's what's great. Icon is the 4th generation of the Rigaku 1064. So there have been a couple real major iterations in the, not just the form factor or the like how it looks, but its functionality. And so that's what really makes it great. Using the Icon platform to have the standoff and also the robot integration and other accessories that we haven't thought of or released yet that can be developed. That's what makes the platform great, and it scans pretty fast.
So it's kind of future-proofing itself by being like, okay, we're not exactly sure what's coming up in the future, but you purchase this system now, and as things come on, you're not going to have to repurchase a whole new system every time we come up with something that's fun or new or exciting or can improve your capabilities. They should just be able to attach right to the existing platform.
Yeah, when it was designed, there's a couple different spots on it where like, okay, we could put in different sampling ports or different integration pieces or some other way to take it out into the field. And so it is future proofing.
That's incredible.
Very cool.
And then you couple it up with the vector, which is not needed, but it enhances it.
Right. Yeah, it'll function, and that's what's great about the vector accessory is that now with one unit you can use the standoff detection or pull it out of the vector and then have your regular sampling capability for pulling a sample and having like in a vial or open space doing the point and shoot analysis.
That's incredible stuff. It's exciting because, I mean, everybody seems to get in bigger libraries, faster speeds, less fluorescence, which is, I don't know. I mean, that's going to be something that's going to be an ultimate rub for just because of the technology. But it's being minimalized through either software or algorithms or technology or whatever it might be, and it's just getting more and more efficient. Do you see it? Do you see this trajectory keeping up? Like, paint me 5 years in a row down for Rigaku. Do you think we're going to have the the Icon-X 2 or something like that, where it's now it's a mug warmer and you can plug in your cell phone to it and you can do all types of stuff? Where do you see it going?
Well, I always, man, when I look at the technologies that are out there available, just commercial off the shelf, I often have this really pleasant experience that we are living in science fiction times. When I was in college, to collect a Raman spectrum, you were like, okay, let's set this experiment up on Friday so that we have enough data by Monday so that we can get a good spectrum. and we go home for the weekend. Yeah. And so now here we have in one little Pelican case, the standoff detector. I'm like, this is science fiction. This is amazing. We joke around about the movie like Back to the Future or even real science fiction media that, we don't have flying cars. It's 2026. But we have the equivalent in other technology like standoff detection and handheld.
And what makes me smile all the time is that each generation doesn't appreciate what the other generation had leading to that. For example, when I got into HazMat, the meters were relatively decent size, right? Like they were about the size of a cell phone, a little bit bigger, and there was like one or two of them, right? And we had different PID, different this, different that, and I had to collect them all together. And I remember complaining, being like, man, this sucks. I gotta hold all of these meters. And one of the old timers looked at me and he goes, you spoiled whatever word he used to call me. He goes, when my PID weighed 30 pounds and it was the only piece of equipment that I could walk into the scene with. And I was like,
Right.
I guess I didn't really think about it like that. And nowadays, right, you get these meters that can do so much that people don't even understand what things were like before those meters were around.
That's another thing is that I appreciate, especially for the Icon, is that we evolved much like cell phones, right? The cell phones were enormous and then they became like micro and you couldn't even operate. It was like Zoolander kind of things. And now we're back to normal stuff. The buttons, the form factor, I think is back to where it's smart and the Icon seriously, I think, has hit that chef's kiss area where the buttons are just right, they feel just right, the handheld, the weight, the balance of it is right. Like there's a lot of meters. Remember back the APD 2000 was like a war hammer, and it was clunky and shit. And now we got these, the Icon that's like, I think it's if they can just hold it there and pack better technology in that box. You're right there.
Yeah. So, like you said, ping Rigaku in 5 years, and then 5 years beyond that, you're going to see things that are really, really exquisite.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be big. I think where Rigaku is going, and again, you're going to be listening to this mere days before the Baltimore HazMat Conference. And if you're not going to Baltimore HazMat Conference, then we will introduce you once again to Jesse and the gang over at Rigaku, because we'll be stopping by the table to demo. I'm hoping to get a full demo of the Vector plus Icon at the show.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have an unboxing scheduled.
Oh,
so if you can't make it to Baltimore, right, and you want a really detailed breakdown of everything that's happening, stay tuned, because in a couple of weeks we should have a full unboxing video out.
Yeah, that'll be great. I'll be at Baltimore at the IAFC with Vector and the Icon-X. And so, we'll do some live demos there. And then the unboxing will be great. I love watching you guys unboxing videos.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. Question for you. So it's definitely no secret that there's a tremendous amount of other people in the ramen space. If you, in just a couple sentences, you've got somebody who's like, they come up to the booth or they come up to talk to you and they go, our ramen technology is old, the meter's falling apart, it can't be serviced anymore. We have to get something new. Why should we be thinking about Rigaku as a replacement for our current technology?
Oh, yeah, because it is going to be your most reliable and economic chemical identification system, and it's also going to give you a potential in the future to have greater capabilities than you have now.
I love it.
All right.
This is great. Jesse, thanks for coming on. Where... I'm sure they're going to want to talk. So how do they get in touch with you or somebody at Rigaku to talk about this a little bit more?
Yeah, Rigaku Analytical Devices is where you would go. I'm also on LinkedIn as well. Jesse S. Taylor. So
I love it. Well, thanks for stopping by and giving a little taste to all those out there. And we hope to see you guys all at Baltimore. And if not, check the social media and we'll have more information about the Vector and the Icon-X there. And if not, you're square.
Great to chat with you guys. Take care.